Let's take a look at Bitcoin and talk about why I think we are getting close to the bottom of this bearish move. Now, obviously, Bitcoin has been all over the news recently because of its huge bearish move. However, today I will be talking about my personal prediction on where the bottom will be and sort of what my plan is at this bottom of the market as to what I'm going to be doing in the cryptocurrency market. Now, before I get into this video, I do just want to say that this video is not financial advice. It is purely for entertainment purposes only. And I recommend you do your own research before making any trades or formulating any opinions on the cryptocurrency market. Anyways, let's get right into the video looking at Bitcoin. So obviously, we have seen this huge bearish move on Bitcoin, which has caused us to break one of the longest term supports on this huge Bitcoin move that we have seen over the past year or so. And as we were coming down from this market, we did see this consolidation period where a lot of people were debating on whether the market would end up going up or down and sort of how it would react and what the lowest level would be. So as we did see, we did end up forming this wedge here, which was actually a bullish wedge because of the previous market. However, we did end up getting a sell-off to break this wedge to the bearish side, as we can see right here. And we did see this series of higher lows before crashing. However, unfortunately, we did fall through that and we did end up going to the bearish side. Now, what's happening today? If we do look on the short term here, just a really quick short-term prediction on what I think is going to happen with Bitcoin. We do see this head and shoulders pattern on the short term, which I think is not bad at all. You know, I think this could just be something that we do see sort of fast from Bitcoin here. I think we could see maybe a recovery up to one of these trend lines here because of this head and shoulders, because we finally found a point of support in this extremely fast crash that we have seen. So this point is extremely interesting. I do have some people who are sort of longing from this point and hoping that it does go up to one of these supports before going back down. However, I still think it's pretty high risk at this point to make any predictions on how we're going to go about going through this bear market. So obviously, what I've been saying for such a long time now is that we were going to fall into this zone between $5,000 and $3,000. This is a zone that we saw in Bitcoin, you know, quite a while back during one of the major dips on the way up to 20,000, and this was a support that I said we would eventually fall into after this consolidation point, and we finally have gone into this point. So what is going to happen in this consolidation point? How can we expect the market to react? Now, first off, I just want to look at historical data, as historical data on previous things that have happened in the past can be very useful when looking at future markets and trying to predict what's going to happen. So I love to look at the previous Bitcoin crash when we did go up to $1,000 and go all the way back down to around $200. So this was a very similar situation to what we have this year. Obviously, a lot of people are overlooking this or just saying it's completely incorrect. However, I think this is an extremely important thing to look at. So if we do see here, we did have a very similar thing where we did have a major support after getting an all-time high. And then we did go very quickly down to this support. And then, you know, we consolidated for a while before eventually breaking it and then falling through into a zone. So how did this zone work back then? Back then, they didn't really have any point on the way up where it did crash. So we didn't really get any major supports from the actual large move. We ended up getting major support from the previous pump that Bitcoin had experienced. So I thought that was interesting. However, what's even more interesting is the fact that we saw a very similar setup as to falling into this zone of support and then eventually breaking back out of it. So how can we expect Bitcoin to react? As we do see here, once it did fall into this zone of support, as we can see exactly what's happening right now, we did fall into this zone, and then as we are at right now, right in this little zone right here, we did see this initial break of the support, and then we did see a retest of the level before falling further. And I think that could be very similar to what's happening right now. We did just break through this very major point, and I think now it's very possible that we could see a similar move where we retest this support or now resistance before falling further. I think that's very, very similar to what happened in the past. And then obviously after that, we did see a fall all the way down to the bottom, which was around 165 back then. And then we did continue to retest these two levels before eventually breaking out. So how would that look on this market? So obviously, like I said, I think we will retest this level here before falling a bit more. So how is this going to look? I think we're going to go up here. This might take around a week, and then we are going to see a fall down to the support of 3,000. Now, I do just want to say, this point is going to be very, very major for Bitcoin. There's going to be a lot of news media saying that Bitcoin is dead and that we're going to fall out of this market. And that's exactly what they want you to think. That's exactly what's causing the selling. However, this is going to most likely be one of the best points to buy. Not only do we have support from this previous low on the crash that we did see on the way up to 20,000, but we also have this as the top of a previous move right here. So as you can see, this is going to be a very, very high area of volume from a lot of major areas that Bitcoin has previously experienced. So I think 3,000 is going to be a very, very safe point. And at the end of the day, if it does end up breaking it, you can always just set your stop loss right below it. And then if it does go below it, then it will just hit your stop loss and you won't end up losing that much money. So what's going to happen after is I think we're going to see some sort of move upwards. This move might take somewhere up to a month. And then this is just going to be our cycle of consolidation, similar to what we saw before breaking out once again. So that's exactly what we see here. You know, we just go through this period of consolidation, of breaking through, you know, going down to that initial crash, that initial major support point before testing the high, and then, you know, going sideways or going back down to testing that support before finally breaking out. So that's exactly what we saw before, and hopefully that's exactly what we can see again before testing hopefully a new high, although it's only time that will tell on what will really happen to that. So why am I so confident at this point as being a major support? Now, not only was this a major level in previous history of Bitcoin, as we do see here, and not only was it also seen in previous pumps on Bitcoin that it does use major supports as the bottom, but if we also do look at the average of the fall of Bitcoin after a major pump, so the average after going up from 1,000 to 200, or the average from going up to whatever level it may have hit in the past to the bottom, the average has been around 85% or 84% to the bottom of the move. And actually, if you do the math of 2,000, you know, going down to 3,000, that is almost exactly an 85% move. That means that if this were to line up, it would almost be the perfect setup for the classic dump on Bitcoin and the classic bottom that Bitcoin has showed in the past. So that's why I am personally pretty confident on this being the bottom and this being the best area to pick up Bitcoin. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys did learn something about what's going to happen to the market. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know what you guys think, and see you guys in the next video.